Story, a daily news show where we talk about the hottest topics of today right in the heart of the newsroom. I'm Kimberly Jiao coming to you live from the Straits Times, and we are streaming on YouTube and Facebook, so do leave us a comment, like and share it with your friends, as well as hit the bell to be told whenever we go live. I'll be joined by a couple of my newsroom colleagues to discuss what got you talking today. Our first story: plans have been announced to build a dementia care village in Sembawang, the first of its kind in Singapore. And with me to discuss this today is ST Correspondent Joyce Teo. Hello, Joyce.
Hi.
So could you tell us a little bit more about this condition called dementia?
Yes, it is not a disease. It's actually a general term that's used to describe a set of symptoms associated with cognitive decline that's caused by different diseases. So the most common is Alzheimer's disease. So the symptoms associated would be with it would be memory loss. You may have problems with language, confusion about time and place. There might be mood changes. There might even be personality changes at a later stage. Some people think it's a part of aging, but it's not. So it is a progressive disease. It worsens with time, and then the cognitive decline can be severe enough to affect your daily living. So I've read like one of the example would be, you might with normal aging you might forget maybe one of your neighbor's names, right? But you know he's your neighbor. But if you have dementia, right, you forget the person's name and you forget who he is. You don't even know that he's your neighbor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in the normal aging, you might forget where you put your keys, where you park your car, and then your family would not be very worried about it, but you may be worried. But with dementia, your family may be worried about your memory because it can be quite serious, right? But you are not aware that you have a problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting.
How prevalent would you say is dementia in Singapore?
In Singapore, an estimated 1 in 10 people aged 60 and above has dementia.
Wow.
And then the proportion goes up to 1 in 2 for those aged 85 and above. And then the population here is aging, right? So it's estimated that by 2030 we will have there will be 103,000 people who have dementia.
Wow, that's very shocking. So in this story we're talking about this dementia village, right? So what exactly is it?
I think it's just a place for dementia patients to live their life as normally as they can.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a new concept. It's like a gated community, so it's safe for them. They can walk around, and you don't have to worry about them getting lost as they might if they're outside. The government just announced this. So the site is in Sembawang. There is a 30-year lease. There are like 10 buildings in it. So it depends on the proposals that come in. We don't know, but the idea is for a village is to have residential spaces and also other facilities, like there might be depending on what they propose there can be a shop, a supermarket, like an eating place, like maybe a kopitiam or a hawker center, because in Singapore that's what we are familiar with, or there can be a barber shop. So places that they can go to, walk around, so they're actually not confined to their rooms or their beds.
Oh.
Yeah. And and then the thing about having a dementia village is the people who work there, right? They are actually trained to deal with dementia patients.
Okay.
So they understand the condition. So for instance, if you go and buy something at the shop, right, you're happy to buy something for yourself and you want to pay for it, but you might forget to pay. So they will understand that it is the condition, and they might actually try to remind you to pay because they know that you want to do it. You want to be independent. But if you do that outside, you take something, you'd be accused of shoplifting, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like a traditional nursing home at all in that case?
No, it's totally, it's not like a traditional nursing home like what we've known. So I've spoke to a professor, Philip Yap. He's the head of geriatric medicine at Khoo Teck Puat Hospital. So he said in the dementia village, I think the key focus would be less on care and then more on helping the patients live their life as normal a life as possible. It requires a shift of thinking. It's very different from what is done here. So here in Singapore, right, the usual nursing homes that we have, they're modeled after hospitals.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite a clinical setting, right? And then in a care-based kind of institution, they take care of you because you're seen as sick, you're treated as sick, or you can't just go out and wander around by yourself. So you follow a standard routine. The food is quite standardized. You don't have as much freedom. So it's very different from, say, having this idea of a dementia village.
Right.
Yeah.
This dementia village is more of sort of seeing the person behind the disease rather than as a patient.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because you still have your needs, you still have your long-term memory. Maybe it's usually intact. You start with the short-term memory first. Yeah.
So how is this village going to help with their independence? I think off camera you mentioned that independence is a very big factor when it comes to dementia care villages.
Yes, you encourage them to live their own life. They maintain their independence. So in that sense, they retain their ability to do things, right? So they feel good about themselves. So in doing that, you improve their well-being, their identity. They feel better, and then when you're happy, the cognitive decline slows down. It's slower.
I see. Yeah. So it's really all about encouraging their independence while keeping them safe.
Yes, and then in that way you help them as well, to have a better quality of life, and then you slow the cognitive decline.
I see.
Yes.
Well, it's still in its early stages at the moment.
Yes.
So if you are looking for follow-up stories with the Dementia Care Village, and they might be and will be in the future.
Yes.
Yeah. Do stay tuned to www.straitstimes.com.